welcome. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell, share the show. Thank you for listening. This is Joey. Let's get started. I believe it was Steny Hoyer, a Democrat speaker for the House back in the 1980s, often played opposite Ronald Reagan when he was president, who once said, all politics is local. And this was a reference to, like I said, he was a representative in Congress. So it was a reference to small ball. It was a reference to the ideology or the idea that politics are won and lost in local elections, not in the national election. That the national election was oftentimes just a reflection of all of the local politics, right? And to that, I think that's a very, very good point. Nancy Pelosi, the modern Speaker of the House, I believe in about 2000-ish, maybe 2008, maybe 2010, because of how their cycles are for the Congress, took it up a notch and said all politics is personal. And that was a reference to that people tend to vote with their hearts rather than on policy. People tend to vote a lot more on social issues, especially nowadays, and tend to be separated politically more by social issues and identify through their party in that way than through traditional resource voting and allocation of funds and whatnot, right? I'd like to take it up a step even further than that for everybody, but particularly for Black people living in America. Or I hate using that phrase, for Black Americans. FBA, ADOS, DACS, you already know the game, right? I would like to say that not only is all politics local, not only is all politics personal, but for our intent and purposes and how it's always been, all politics is warfare. In fact, I would go as far as to say that war is not only caused most of the time by politics, but politics is the last stop on the train to war if we disagree. Politics is the most what is war when you really think about it? People think of war as combat. I even hear soldiers. I got friends that are in the armed forces and they're veterans, and they'll shut you down if you start using references to war because they go, you don't know what war means. I was like, no, nigga, you was in combat. You were in combat. You don't know what war means. And it's really insulting to say that to a U.S. veteran, but keeping it real. You don't know. You know what combat means. You know what combat means because you could be in combat with an enemy combatant representing the country, and next year, we're cool with them niggas. This dude done took out all kinds of fellow soldiers and shit of yours and blew people up. We're cool with them now. You can't go get them back. Now you'd be disobeying the U.S. command. You got to sit there and be allies with this nigga now. You got a new enemy. That's combat. And then what is war? War is taking over enemy resources. It's taking resources, period. War is dominating and controlling an area for your own personal gain or strategic advantage. War is pinning your opposition in to where they can't cause you any harm. They can be completely neutralized. You can do that with violence. You can do that with cunning. You can do that with soft power, intimidation, influence, bribery, combat, battle. That's an element. It's a tactic of war. And it's often the one that's the most costly for both sides and the most expensive. That's the same thing. Physical combat creates animosity. It creates blowback. It's never over. It's not efficient. This is why books like Sun Tzu teach people the art of war, not of combat. The art of war is to win wars without fighting, i.e., to win wars without combat. Because combat is expensive. Combat also carries a hefty moral cost. Modern human beings aren't just prone to killing for the sake of killing like that. There's a whole psychological transformation you got to put people through in order to get cool with just taking people out that they don't know. This is why you got so many soldiers from all over the world that got mental issues and psychological damage from what they had to do for the country. So we're not talking about combat when I say warfare. We're not talking about violence when I'm talking about warfare. This is no delusions of grandeur of being some kind of a super soldier, or no, we're not talking about shit hits the fan and you grabbing an AR-15 and joining a militia. When I'm talking about all politics is warfare, we are strictly talking about the three things of warfare, the three elements of warfare that are efficient, which is the taking over and dissemination of resources, the taking over and strategic utilization of space, locations, right? Territory, and the neutralization of your enemies, the imposition of your will. Those are the three elements of warfare that we're talking about with regards to politics. Politics is the most efficient form of warfare because you can get all three of those things without using a shred of violence if you're smart enough, if you're efficient enough, if you're a cohesive unit. The U.S. government saw more success getting rid of the Indians using politics and zoning off land than it did warfare. They didn't come into this country with the numbers against the Indians. They were getting slaughtered left and right. They had to start using political tactics to make those large Native American numbers null and void. Like I've said before, it doesn't matter how many Indians there are. If I can find one Indian, get him drunk enough and get him to sign off that you gave us the land, now, even though this whole thing was built on completely false pretenses and bullshit, I've got some kind of a bullshit political legal argument to justify taking the land. That's the game. We can make it to where, okay, there's 80 million of y'all here and 10 million of us, but we can make it to where 80 million of y'all can't vote. And oh, look, it's a unanimous decision that we've all decided that this is our land now. Well, we voted on it. That's the game. That's how you can have in 2022, you can have redistricting maps that just straight up make your vote not count. Because we can't have these rules that we want to get passed not get passed. We know that the rules that we want to pass don't reflect the will of the people, so just change the people. This is warfare. And if you don't believe this is warfare, simply change how the tax money is getting spent and what it's getting spent on, and just swap out the word tax money for rations or oil or gold. The things that you're used to hearing people fighting wars over. Just switch that word, taxpayer money, to any of those things, and then realize how it's getting moved around, and the process by which it's getting moved around is it's warfare. We're all paying taxes, but we all vote on where those tax dollars get spent. And somehow, in the process of politics, everybody putting money in turns into only a few people getting money out. And you don't see that as you being robbed. But if we were in some third world country, if we were in some country in Africa right now, and somebody stumbled and found a mountain full of gold, and then all of a sudden, militaries all over the world started popping up, taking the gold or taking the oil, you would see firsthand what I mean by how your resources are getting took through warfare. You would go, hey, that resource is on our land. That's our resource. And then that army would come in and say, no, we've taken over, we've occupied your land, and we're taking this resource. And if you want to control this resource, where's your army? You just having it on your land don't mean shit if you can't control it. Hell, look at that on a street level. If you're walking around the street with a nice shiny gold chain on your neck that you could afford, you had money to buy that gold chain, that's good for you. But some niggas walk up and say it's a nice chain and take it off your neck and you can't stop them. Do you really own the chain? It's not on your neck no more. But I bought it. But it's on his neck. Go get it. Go get it back. Go tell him that. I'm sure he'll hand it back to you, right? Misunderstand it. You don't own nothing you can't hold down. So how does that bring us back to politics, warfare, and black people? Well, let's look at where the resources go. See, this is a game that black people like to play with each other, where we all, see, this is the thing about the whole phrase woke. Nobody's asleep. Woke is a horrible word to describe this shit. Even disillusioned would be a fake word to describe this shit, because everybody sees exactly what's going on. There's nobody who's under any kind of misguided illusion as to how the world works. The thing is we all just have to play like we don't see it. So it's not about being woke. It's about no longer being in denial. Nobody's asleep. Nobody's asleep. It's like everybody knows the weird uncle in the family. We all know what he's up to. Just nobody acknowledges it. Everybody knows the bully. People will see somebody get bullied in school. They'll see a nigga get stuffed in a garbage can and get his lunch money took and shit. See that person get tormented every day. But they're going to act like they don't see it because don't nobody want to be next. That's a big ass nigga. The second you acknowledge a problem, well, now you got to go on and deal with it. That's why you be having families with weird molesters in the family that everybody know, but no one's going to say shit. Right? Well, we're a family. What that shit really means is, man, let's just keep this under wraps. Now we all got to acknowledge it and live with it and be real about the shit we ignored, right? Because it's really an indictment on the whole family, right? You got that dad that's beating the shit out of the mom and everybody's acting like they don't see it. It takes effort for everybody to play their part in that thing going on. Nobody's asleep. So when you see what goes on in your average black community, when you see, just look at East St. Louis, Illinois, and don't look at the crime rate. Like, so this is what I do whenever I look at a black city, because the first thing white media wants you to do is look at the crime rate, right? They're just out here just criming it up all day long. We can't. And the first thing I like to do before I get to any kind of crime rates when it comes to politics is I say, let's look at the resources. Look at any black city in America. Any black city. Don't even look at the people. Remove all the people from the scenery that you see in any black city and just look at the city. There's no way that niggas can be responsible for that level of blight, degradation, and fuckery in the city. In any city. Let me give you a perfect example. You could take any ghetto black town in any city in the United States of America, and when you remove the people, the only thing you can really blame the people for is like littering and shit. You can't blame the poor black people in Flint, Michigan for why there's lead in their water. It's not like niggas was stuffing crack cocaine down the pipes in Flint, Michigan for so long that it just degraded and corroded the pipes and now we got lead. No. Those type of things were the results of big time decision makers way above black people's heads that have huge consequences and repercussions on the people of the city that nobody's going to have to pay for, either through payments or through punishment, that have huge effects on that city that black people are going to get blamed for because of their behavior. There's no amount of sagging pants that put lead in them fucking pipes. You go to East St. Louis, Illinois, there's no amount of gangbanging, dope slinging, hustling that accounts for live sewage being in the streets because the city doesn't deal with the sewage problem. That ain't got nothing to do with the people. Like I said, when I look at rundown cities, when I look at rundown towns in black communities, it ain't got shit to do with the black people's behavior. It ain't like the city's coming through to pave the streets and niggas just won't stop gangbanging, right? Just get out the road. Jesus, I'm trying to pave this. Never mind. That's why your cities are messed up. No, it's not that. It's not like they had some big pipe replacement initiative in Flint, Michigan, but it was just so rugged and raw in Detroit that they just couldn't do it. Like that's not what happens. That's not what happens. And this is the reason why I use East St. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis, Illinois is in LeClaire County in Illinois. Now, you would think when you look at these rundown, dilapidated ass black towns, you would think, oh, well, these niggas must pay next to nothing in taxes. That's why their cities are run down. They don't have a lot of tax revenues because there aren't a lot of businesses here. So that's why they don't have any money in their coffers to improve their cities. And I would totally understand someone thinking that. That's perfectly logical. But you would be dead wrong. East St. Louis, Illinois, and the poor black people that live in it pay some of the highest taxes in the state of Illinois. Yes, the state of Illinois that includes goddamn Chicago. They pay some of the highest taxes in LeClaire County by far. Now, LeClaire County has a lot of nice little cities in it. Nice little white cities in it. Now, let me tell you how dirty the politics, this is how dirty politics is when I said all politics is warfare. Now, what do we just say? You would think that the reason why this city's so poor and in such shambles is because they don't have a lot of tax revenues, because they don't have a lot of businesses there and all this kind of shit. Look at East St. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis, Illinois, its biggest company that used to be in that city was Monsanto. Now, Monsanto is a huge agriculture company. agricultural equipment company. They make fertilizers and, bug repellents and pest control devices and all kinds of shit like that. Seeds, all that stuff. And Monsanto is also known for being almost like a cartoonish evil entity company. Like, I believe that the owner of Monsanto is like C. Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons and shit. Like, it's just textbook evil corporation, right? And like any textbook evil corporation, they're going to do sleazy shit to get out of doing the bare minimums. So even though Monsanto for years had been plugged in at the heart of East St. Louis, Monsanto never paid a fucking dime in taxes towards East St. Louis. Monsanto was able to circumvent paying a dime in taxes towards East St. Louis by sectioning itself off as, quote unquote, its own city. Now, what's wrong with that? You're a giant company that creates byproducts and waste products that tear up the city. All the runoff from all the chemicals that it uses to make its products runs directly off into East St. Louis. All the smoke and smog that billows from the pipes and the chimneys at that big ass factory goes right into East St. Louis. All that shit. The traffic. Monsanto doesn't hire anybody from East St. Louis. It's one of those places where people from out of town drive in, work, drive out. The people that work for Monsanto, they don't spend any of their money in East St. Louis. Where would they spend it at? East St. Louis has no grocery stores, no high schools, no middle schools, no hospitals. It's got one strip club split in half for the white half and the black half. Ain't shit over in East St. Louis. And that's by design. And they don't got to give up no tax money to improve East St. Louis, even though they completely benefit from being located smack dab in the middle of East St. Louis and affect the environment in East St. Louis. On top of that, you have next to no city amenities. Like I said, ain't no sewage people coming out there to fix the roaming sewage spills that are going on out there in people's yards. I'm not talking about like, oh, these people are all on septic tanks and these septic tanks, need some maintenance. And so they're spilling over like in Louds County. No, I'm talking about sewer systems that are just bursting and you could be minding your business, standing in front of your own front yard. You could be the mailman in East St. Louis looking to drop off mail. And you look around your corner and you see a giant green-brown wave of funk and disgust coming your way. Get in that mail truck. Run, nigga. Run. That's East St. Louis, Illinois. It's a spot where other gang members and other car thieves and other criminals from surrounding cities drop off their stolen cars after crimes. It looks like RoboCop 3. Barrels on fire and shit, crackheads scurrying through the alleys. It's that bad. And it's not because black folks ain't shit. It's because you don't have any resources coming to that part of town. Despite the fact that you pay some of the highest taxes in the county. So what does that mean? That means you pay taxes that never go to your city. You pay taxes that never go to you. You're the poorest city in the area. You need the most resources, and all of your funding goes to white cities in LeClaire County that don't really need the shit. And then we look at that. And this is why I said nobody's sleep. We all know this. We all can count. We all can see that. Like there's no simpler math than zero. If I'm paying 100% into something and I'm getting zero out of it, what do you think that means, right? And it's not like I'm paying because I'm getting tricked every year and I'm an idiot and I'm thinking I'm putting in to become a rapper or Publishers Clearinghouse or a lotto ticket. No, I have to pay this shit because it's taxes or I'll go to jail. So it's literally taxation without representation, which last thing I remember, that shit used to start riots with white folks. But with black folks, we know it. Yeah, what are you going to do? That's our mentality on a lot of shit. And to make things even worse, and I believe I've mentioned this poor woman before, there used to be a woman that used to run East St. Louis named Amikia Jackson Hicks. And when she had became the mayor of East St. Louis and was running East St. Louis, they wouldn't even allow East St. Louis to operate their own budget. So LeClaire County gets the money from the state that's supposed to go to East St. Louis, and LeClaire County tells East St. Louis where they're going to pay it, what they're going to spend it on. And oh, lo and behold, wouldn't you know, every year, the shit never comes down to East St. Louis getting any money. And this is how it is for every black city. Not even every black city, every black neighborhood. They're not going to do shit for you until a white person moves in. That's how the game goes. That's why when you start seeing shit gentrifying, and this is what drives me crazy, that you'll have older black folks try to chastise younger black folks, knowing how the world works with politics, and really try to make it seem like white folks is out here building these cities by themselves. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, white folks is just moving into just regular white folks with 9-to-5 jobs are moving into neighborhoods and having neighborhood watch meetings and then deciding that they're going to fix and improve no, that's not how the shit works. When your city looks and sees demographically that the city is getting whiter, that the neighborhood is getting whiter, that's when they decide to start diverting tax funds towards things. You think man, my family has lived in the area we've been living in for almost 50 years. 50 years consistently not missing one mortgage payment, one tax payment, not nada. 50 years of going to city council meetings and making our presence be known. We live in a very, very small, very personable city right outside of Seattle. 50 years of that. And one thing we used to always fight for, my dad used to always fight for, we live in a very secluded street where there wasn't a good street light out there. We live in a very weird turn. We couldn't get a street light. We would go to city council meetings. We would sit on boards. We would try to talk to people. Could not get a simple street light. Couldn't get the road paved. One day, our white neighbor moved in. He put in one complaint about a street light. That street light was there by the end of that month. And the date that he put that complaint in was the 24th. That shit was still installed and working by the end of the month. $50 years. 6 days. Now, somebody playing sleep, somebody playing possum would tell you, well, how do you know that they just was about to do it after 50 years and he just happened to come in the last 6 days? That's a possible good argument. But if it took you 6 days to put in a streetlight, like, which one do you think is probably more likely the situation? That it takes 50 years to put in a streetlight or 6 days? My pops never even got to see that streetlight. So let's quit with this lying. Like, when you hear black people saying shit, see, we got to pull ours, we got to get it together. Like, these white folks is serious. When niggas know all that's a lie. The white folks jogging in your communities right now do not build that Whole Foods that's coming in. That Whole Foods is built for those white people with your tax dollars. Your tax dollars, your resources get taken away from you. They get strong-armed from you and given to other people so that they can live a better life in front of you with your money and then tell you, why can't you do what I did when they didn't do shit? That's the problem. And a lot of black people don't understand how taxes work, how we're being bopped by our taxes. And because of that, you have this weird worldview where you think niggas are lazy. And that's why I said, if you think niggas are lazy, simply remove niggas. Just look at the lands that niggas are on. Just look at the lands that niggas are on and ask yourself, if these people pay taxes, why does the place look like this? And you can't say, because niggas don't recycle, because they don't take care of their community. No. We're talking about lead in pipes, bro. We're talking about shit that the city normally handles, bro. What you pay taxes for. We pay taxes in our city, and every year, when it starts to get, we got bushes, we got trees and shrubbery and stuff like that. It's a semi-forested area, you know what I'm saying? Well, not forested, but, woodland type of northwesty area. When it's springtime and the bushes start to growing in kind of thick, the city hires people to come through and use a tractor to chop down all those bushes and shit. We've all driven down the highway and seen, the guy on the tractor cutting all the bushes on the side of the road so it doesn't overgrow. Those aren't people from the community. Pull yourself up by your own boot. No, the city does city maintenance shit to maintain the city. That's like repaving the roads. There was a big snowstorm out here like a couple months ago. Potholes everywhere. Potholes in the good parts of the city, potholes in the bad parts of the city. All the potholes in the good parts of the city, them things is being covered up. The potholes in the bad parts of the city is still standing strong. But when I get my tax statement for the property taxes and the city taxes that I'm paying, one of the things that is listed that the taxes is going towards is road improvement. So I'm looking at the fact that I'm paying for road improvement for my city, but my roads are not improved. So what did I just pay for? I paid for the white nigga next to me in the whiter city to get his roads improved. And see, I live in a pretty white community. Not a white community. I live in a pretty white city. Seattle's a very white. Seattle's so white it's Asian. So it's easy sometimes to get on the coattails of a white neighborhood. But if you happen to be a black person that lives in one of the areas that's considered a quote unquote black neighborhood, they found a way to keep the resources from you. That's every black city in America. You can't tell me what black folks sagging their pants or rapping too much or wearing dreadlocks or gold teeth or having short dresses has to do with goddamn hookworms in the soil in the yards or lead in the pipes. We didn't put those lead pipes in. People talk about black cities and black parts of town like niggas just got left to our own devices and we just built shit wrong. Like we didn't build shit up to code. Like, no, that shit was built by the cities. And that's why the second gentrification happens, magically the cities get funding. It don't matter how big and metropolitan the city be when it's black. The second some white folks come in, oh, hey, guys, we just found some funding. It don't even got to be a city. It don't even got to be a city. It could be a school.
Even in a white city, There's always a black side of town or a black school, man. And I went to a black school in this white city. Our school was so black, we had like maybe 4 white kids. It was very, very diverse. I ain't gonna drop their names.
That was it. And we used to know. Like, you would think, oh, it's a ghetto black school. Oh, if I'm a white kid, I'm going to get picked on. No, the white kid used to get treated like one of the fellas. If not, the white kid would get treated like gold because everybody in the school knew, shit, nigga, that's our funding. We had a white boy come to the football team one time. We were so happy. We used to call him Sunshine. We're like, oh, we're going to get jerseys now. We were so happy. He didn't even have to play. We were just like, just be the white boy on the team and stand out front so we can get some funding. Everybody knows the second white folks show up, now the city's going to start spending money. And nobody asks why when it's your fucking money. Nobody thinks about that. No one thinks about where do these businesses come from when they come in here? They're only going to come in because they know more white folks are coming in. More white folks coming in means more money coming in. More money coming in means more businesses can come in here. More businesses can come in here means white folks will spend money on these businesses, so on and so forth. We have an economy. We got a vibrant city. But none of that shit happens until they start putting resources in the city. And you know how you know that's true? Look at the poor white neighborhoods in all of middle America. Look at all them poor white neighborhoods in all of middle America where them white folks didn't get it cracking. Right? And if you look at all these, the difference between the poor white cities in middle America and the poor black cities all over America is that the poor white cities, you can go back in time and there's a point in time where they tried to put money in the city and it just didn't work. With the exception of the most smallest backwater towns where white folks live because they want to be left alone. I'm talking about regular little middle America towns where you could always see that, oh, there was some business here that when they pulled out, the whole city fell apart. All that shit's artificial. They build things up around them with your tax money. With your tax money. And then not only that, we're talking about resources. What's another major resource for a city? What's another major resource for a people in a city? It's their homes. It's their homes. And what I like to do when people make gross misstatements about black life and black politics, I like to take the extreme of the argument they're making to prove that they're full of shit. Right? Now, what's the argument that a lot of pick your pants up black folks like to make about black life? Well, if y'all just pick your pants up and go get an education and work hard and go to school, everything gonna be fine. Ain't no racism. Just okay. Let's move from East St. Louis, Illinois. Let's go over to a town like DeSoto, Texas. Now, DeSoto, Texas is a black neighborhood. It's a black community where a lot of the black people are college educated, they have good jobs. They have, their income bracket is on par or higher than the average decent white city. Decent neighboring white city. Just picture a black version of Galveston, Texas. Just a small, it's not that big, but small little nice little enclave of neighborhoods. That's it. This isn't Black Hollywood. You're not going to see any celebrities over there. Just regular, just like dentists and lawyers and shit live over there. Just well-paying, hardworking black folks. The streets are clean. And remember what I said about when you see clean streets and stuff like that, that's the city that maintains that shit? No, this community maintains this themselves. This is the type of community. This is a black community, but this is the type of community where you'll get a knock on your door if there's shit in your yard. You're not going to have us looking like some fools out here. If you want to talk about pull yourselves up by if pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, nigger, was a city, it would be DeSoto, Texas, right? And after all of that, after everything I just told you, with an entire neighborhood of black folks doing everything right, the white real estate agents that sell houses in that area still tell their white home buyers, don't buy no house over there because niggers live over there. And because of that, simply because white folks do not move over in those areas, the property values never go up. So even doing something responsible, like trying to own a home as an investment and come up in your community, is damn near impossible because of artificial markers outside of what you're doing. Because they tell white folks, don't move in there. Not Mondo rich white people, not Bill Gates and them, just regular white folks. The exact same white counterpart of what you already are. Like I said, a white dentist. You can have a neighborhood in DeSoto, Texas of black dentists and black lawyers and black engineers. But because those white real estate agents won't let just a few white, same thing you are, move in your neighborhood, the value of your neighborhood will never go up. Not only will the value of your neighborhood and the value of your property never go up, because the white counterpart of the exact same thing you already do doesn't live there, you won't even get city amenities. We don't even really see the point in cutting the shrubbery on the streets in your yards or on your arterials because, well, you're not white. You pay the same taxes. Like, think about it. You'll get the same taxes as if you have all the amenities of a white city, but you won't get shit. And those exact same tax dollars that you're paying in your community will get diverted through politics to the neighboring white city until an appropriate amount of white people move into your neighborhood. And you don't see what's wrong with that. Like, think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. You don't see an issue with that. You'll see all of that. You'll let all that happen. And then you'll look around and go, yeah, black folks need to get it together, man. We don't got nice cities like them because we don't work hard. It's like, no, that's not at all the reason. If you got a bully taking your lunch money, the solution isn't to go get more lunch money. He's going to go take that too. There's no amount of lunch money. It's not like you're going to get so much lunch money that the bully's like, yeah, you know what? I'm full. Let's go on to the next resource that's in your city that don't work for you if you're a black city, if you're a black neighborhood, if you're a black town, right? Now, this is an ongoing joke with white folks. It's such a common trope. When a white person gets pulled over or inconvenienced by a police officer, what's the joking line that black folks use that white folks will say, and say with an attitude? My taxes pay your salary, pal. That's letting him know who's in charge. Nigga, this is my city. You're an element of my city. Your job is to keep my city. You're not unlike those little fish that suck on the glass, that eat all the algae in a fish tank, Mr. Officer. That's your job for me. You don't come over here and check me. I'm the great white. Literally. Newsflash, nigga. Your tax money goes to these cops too. But you see the cops as a predator because you're not trained to think that your taxes pay this nigga's salary. And because you're not trained to think that your taxes pay this nigga's salary, we don't even think about going after police unions and police groups the way white folks do. And to be fair, when we try to, we find roadblocks with our own institutions, our own NAACPs, our own urban leagues, our own groups will fight against us. We don't look at politics as warfare. We don't look at politics as a means to an end for getting access to resources and power. We don't look at politics as an efficient means for neutralizing our opposition. We don't look at politics as a efficient means of taking over territory and position. Look at our schools. Look at our schools. We'll say things like, we need to build our own schools. We need Umar Johnson. We need to give Umar Johnson some money so he can build us a school. While we pay for every school in America. We got schools, we got public schools in our own backyard that we don't control. We don't take them over. They're in our communities. We send our kids off to them. We don't ask them what they're teaching our kids. We don't give a shit. We're just glad they're gone for 8 hours. We don't look at these institutions as ours. We look at them as institutions that are white folks that they're giving to us for a minute. You pay for these things. And if you want proof of what I'm talking about as to how you should be able to control these shits, look at white folks with critical race theory. This goes back to what I'm saying about ain't nobody sleep. Everybody knows what's going on. They just play along until playing along doesn't benefit them no more. Then it's, hey, wait a minute, time out. Right? It's like being on one of them roller coasters or in a VR game or something like that. At any point in time, you can take off that helmet and go, okay, I'm back to reality. You notice you ain't heard a peep out of white folks about all the bullshit that gets taught in school. Right up until the bullshit was bullshit they didn't like, right? And then say, wait a minute. I don't want my kids taught this. You don't hear them talking about, well, that's the way things are. We don't have no, they're straight up telling you, I'm pulling my tax dollars from this shit. White folks will turn around and make their neighborhood an enclave to where they don't got to pay taxes to the city. Look at Atlanta. Look at what they're trying to do with Atlanta and cut off Bankhead and go, we don't want to contribute to this nigger city like that. We want our money to go to us. We want our money to go to us. And like I said, there's a big misconception. See, working class people think that taxes work for everything like it do for working class people. What do working class people say about taxes? The more you make, the more they take. So logically, you think, well, shit, if they're making big money down the street, if them white folks is making big money over there, they must be taking a lot of their money, right? That's anybody. That's logically how you would think. If you think the more they make, the more you make, the more they take. And white folks ride that misconception off into the sunset with black folks all day long. They let you think that. You're not getting my tax dollars. Listen, let me tell you something. Upper tier white folks pay some of the fewest taxes in history. They pay some of the smallest amount in taxes that you could ever, like, let's take things to an extreme. I don't know you. You're listening to me on a podcast on YouTube. I can't see you. You can't see me. I don't know your life. I don't know your lifestyle. But I can tell you right off the bat, you pay more taxes than the entire company of Amazon. You pay more taxes than Jeff Bezos, bro. I don't know you. But I can say that, and it's factual, because Amazon don't pay shit in taxes. A lot of these rich people don't pay shit. Donald Trump don't pay shit in taxes like that. Neither does Joe Biden. Keep it real. You, as a regular earned income worker, what's the norm when it's tax time? You go to H&R Block, you go to Jackson Hewlett, you go to TurboTax, so that they can do what? Find you as many loopholes, tax breaks, and deductions as you can to where that you either A, pay the smallest amount in taxes owed, or B, get a return. That's regular people. That's the name of the game. Find me some loopholes, bro. Say that I ran a business out of my house. Hey, man, I got, my shoebox here. Why don't you tell them that you can write off my Jordan collection? Niggas try to find every angle under the sun. You think rich people are no different and aren't way better at doing that? Oh my God, they move their money around to where they don't pay shit in taxes. And the part that throws you and me off is that they'll still be complaining about paying taxes. So you think that, damn, they must be paying out the ass. They ain't paying shit. And not only that, but the little bit of taxes that rich people or well-to-do people do pay, they actually get a bang for their buck with their taxes. Meaning they get to say where their taxes go. They get to threaten to pull their taxes back. They can divert tax funds. Your shit just come out your shit and goes to them. You want proof? Look at this. Every day, there's a new rule that comes out that gives farmers, white farmers, money. Shit's been happening since MLK. He even told you they're getting subsidies not to farm on land. They got training on how to farm. They get resources, all that shit. And all of it's under the guise of, well, got to keep these farms going. But let a settlement come out that proves that black farmers were openly discriminated against, right? That we intentionally sold black farmers bad seeds so that their farms would go under, so that white farmers could take their farms. This is recent times. Let that come out and let black farmers get a settlement like they did. Look at all the white farmers that come out against it and block it. And then they go, sorry, niggers, never mind. But you don't have the black counterpart that's on white farmers' heads, right? That shit slips right through every day. This shit's warfare. If I want to take your resources, if I want to take what you got, I can come into your village, raiding and reaping and stabbing and shooting and killing everything that moves. Or I can put it up to a vote. That's how they move out here. And because we don't get involved in politics, every day they encroach a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further. If they can remove critical race theory off the board that easy, what do you think black folks could get done with regards to what gets taught in school? What do you think we could say? Well, we don't want that taught in our schools. We don't want to get forced to learn all this gay shit. Since you just erasing black history off the board because it makes you feel bad, let's go all the way. What can we say can get taught in our schools or not? And if we say it, what kind of an argument would they come up with against it after just bowing to whatever white folks said? What would be the excuse for why white folks can kick their feet and stomp and get their way, but niggas can't? It would be political representation. I can't keep driving this home enough. Anybody who's ever been to court knows how powerless of a feeling it is to have a public pretender representing you in court. You have, by design, inefficient turncoats representing you, public pretenders. And you've known this the whole time. Ain't nobody sleep. That's the real reason why a lot of black folks are turned off of politics. You know that it's so much phony. You know the people that have been put in place for you were not put in place by you. See, this is a part about politics that people kind of leave out with black folks. Like, how come they don't get involved? We kind of leave out how much violence was put upon us in the late 60s. They just kind of turned a lot of black folks off of the idea of resistance, which was by design. Violence is a hidden part of politics in the history of this country, and I'll bring that up in another episode. But with regards to politics and actual warfare, strategy and tactics, yes, all politics is warfare. So now that I've broken down how important politics is with regards to allocation of resources, narrative, taking over territory, and neutralizing your opposition, now we got to talk about how to use the tactics of politics to our advantage. Because without doing that, you see the state that we're in. You see, you actually agree with me with the argument that politics is warfare and don't realize it because you use warfare terms in politics all the time. You can't say you don't believe that politics is warfare because you don't see bombs bursting in the air and shit like that, and then use terms like ally. That's a word that gets thrown around a lot on liberal groups. Ally, alliance, right? Ally, and I've said this before, ally does not mean friend. Ally means we are aligned because of something very specific. And once the terms of that alignment are no longer in alignment, we're no longer allies, right? It's all lies at that point. So when you're calling somebody an ally, in war terms, you got to always be mindful of what you guys are aligned on. And is that alliance being upheld, right? The United States of America was allied with Russia during World War II. We're allied with Russia, allied with the UK on the terms of we got to go beat these Nazis. On the terms of we do not want the world to be shaped and carved up in the vision of the Nazi party. Russia, I don't get along with you personally on anything else. America, I don't get along with you personally on anything else. We both don't like the UK. But do you know who we all don't like more? Them niggas in Germany. And what happened the second that the Germans were defeated? Russia and the USA start looking at each other. All right, nigga, the terms of the alliance are over. Germany has been defeated. Now, back to that bullshit you was talking about. They're not friends. Russia and the USA didn't go ride off on a tandem bike together. People, let me tell you about my best friend. That ain't what happened. They went right into being enemies. The next order of business. Who's the next biggest threat? Our politics don't line up no more. We had a mutual enemy. We had somebody who was, as white folks like to say when it's about to go down, in the way of progress. We've removed him. And now the next biggest threat is each other. That's how alliances work. We're not friends. We have a memorandum of understanding. We have an agreement. We have a pact, right? Hell, around that same time, China was going through a civil war. They're fighting each other. Then here come Japan. They're like, look, shit, truce? A truce is an alliance. We're not friends now. We have a bigger enemy. The thing we're fighting each other over won't be here to fight over if we don't deal with this threat first. Then we can go back to this beef. Alliance. Now look at our quote unquote supposed Democratic Party big tent alliance with all of these other big ass air quote minority groups. What's our alliance based on? Who are these other groups? It's 4 groups. It's black folks, immigrants, gays, and white women, right? Okay, what is our alliance with these other groups? What is our alliance with white women? The white women side with the black women, not even side with. The white women use the black women as mascots to make their white women causes look legit. If white women had to go it alone with feminism, people would be like, ain't you Massa's wife? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear about your trials and tribulations about you having to make lemonade while your husband was whipping niggas. Nobody think you went through nothing hard. Like, really, remove black women from women's struggles, and it's just white women complaining about not getting their cut from white supremacy, right? It's not really a legitimate struggle. We didn't get to work. You guys don't do shit. White women don't do shit. Let's keep it real for a second. White men are completely valid and justified in not respecting their women. It took World War II for white women to finally work. Like, let's just be real for a second. White women didn't even raise their kids during slavery. That's how lazy white women were. Like, you had a nigger for that. Like think of, that's the reason, if you're a black female, that's the reason you went through shit. That's why black men laugh seeing y'all try to be white feminists with your white. The reason niggers suffered, there was a white man outside whipping the shit out of us. There was a white man roving around the fields, making sure nobody escaped, right? But when that white man went in the big house, he'd take his boots off and rub his feet and shit and go to sleep. And white supremacy was officially under the command of the white woman. Any torture that happened in that house was white women territory. She was down for, and knew about everything that's ever gone on and was a part of it the whole time, gung-ho. White women were 40% of slave owners. White women was the ones that would be beating black women's asses and stuff inside the house. Torture. White women were reported to be more virile and torturous. What would you rather have? Some dude beating you for 20 minutes with a whip, or somebody starving you out? Forcing you to breastfeed their kids and watch your kids starve to death before they go out in the field. You're acting like after the white man would rape you, the white woman would come over and comfort you on some sister girl shit. No, she'd have you beat for having sex with her man. Not a single riot, not a single race riot or lynching in history that didn't start with some white woman false claiming rape. Getting whole goddamn black cities and black business districts burnt down to the ground purely out of jealousy and lies. But that's your sister girl, right? So I don't want to hear shit. And then you'll get mad at us because some of us date them. How could you date them? Why are you marching side by side with the bitch? like, what do we get from that alliance? Nothing. You legitimize their claim. They delude your claim. There's no equivalent exchange. There's nothing beneficial. A few of you get checks to sell the rest of the black community out. And as you see from what happened to the members of Black Lives Matter, there's even a catch with that. You get nothing from that. What do you get from your alliance with the gays? Nothing. They get to walk around and say what they went through is exactly like what black folks went through, which is laughable until you realize they're dead ass serious, right? You know how you know what gays went through ain't nowhere near what black folks went through? You can sum up what white gays go through as far as being gay in an episode of My So-Called Life. Oh, daddy was ashamed because he paid for you to go to Harvard and you like to play with boys in school and shit like that, and he's embarrassed and you guys are going to be mad for a minute, but when he's dying off and you're turning 40, he's still giving you the family company. Like let's not pretend. You're not cut off. Right? You were fine. Niggas' life is in the roots. Niggas' life is so bad they still won't even tell you what really happened. Right? You know you done did somebody wrong when the cover up is showing lynchings, but you can't really show what lynchings really meant. Like, you know it's bad when showing somebody getting hung by a crowd of people is the humane version that you can show what happened. You don't show the mutilations and the nigger barbecues and the castrations y'all would do. Like, you can't even show what really happened, and the doctored up version of what you show is horrifying, right? And what do you get from your alliance with the gays? They get to take all of that suffering and all of that human rights history and all that civil rights fighting and say, we're the same thing. And you get what? Matter of fact, they dropped They dropped homophobia on your door and said, no, white people are fine. Only blacks are homophobic. And what we went through is just like slavery. So give us the resources. They've attached themselves to every movement you've had. All the bills that are for gay people are just them saying, I'll have what they're having with black bills. Every minority group, women, immigrants, gays, every air quote minority group, because I don't know how white women who have been the larger half of white society for decades have become minorities, but that's beyond me, right? Every minority group, air quote minority group, that has a single thing to benefit from here in America gets that from laws that were written for black people. And they get those things before black people. What do you get from your alliance with the gays? They jump ahead of everything you do. And you notice the one thing everybody does, whether it's the gays, whether it's white women with feminism, or whether it's immigrants, is they find the small section of black society that also fits that demographic to commandeer the justice claim of the whole demographic. What do I mean by that? Okay, we're white women. We're white feminists. We want to give some legitimacy to the white feminist movement. We want to make it seem like what we go through is what black people go through. Well, let's see. We're women. They're black people. They have black women. Let's just make an alliance with some of the black women so that we can say that we're exactly the same as the black people. They use the few black women that they get to endorse their movement on behalf of all blackness and say this is the same as what black people go through. What do the immigrants do? I just got done talking about this. You ask, how does immigration benefit black America? And the only answer they give you is, well, some of these immigrants are black. Never mind the fact that the black immigrants represent far and away the smallest amount of the immigrant population. You have to be okay with all immigration in America because some of the immigrants are black. We don't need your approval. It doesn't need to benefit you. Matter of fact, we'll have these few black immigrants come on TV and speak as you, for you, and say that immigration is a black issue and it's a swell plan. What do you get for that? Not only do you not get anything, you lose things. Because what do these white women do when they form an alliance with your black women? They say the black community is sexist. And what we go through is just like what they go through. And we make it, so they're lazy. So they totally shit on your justice claim and put all that bad stigma on the black community. What do you get with the gays? Oh, the black community and the black community alone is homophobic. And what we go through is just like what black people go through. And we're doing fine. The black people are lazy. You lose. What do you get from alliance with immigrants? Oh, the black community and the black community alone is xenophobic. And what we go through is just like what blacks went through here. And we're making it so the Akata is lazy. So in all of these alliances that you have, you get nothing out of it. Your ally gets everything out of it. Your ally gets to siphon from you any benefits that you have from your identity and your demographic because of your justice claim, jump ahead of you in line, and then leave you with all the baggage from their communities. I haven't even gotten to that part yet. They leave you with all the stigma and all the negativity of you're homophobic, you're xenophobic, you're sexist, you're the patriarchy, right? White women will be married to white men and calling powerless black men the patriarchy. Think about that for a second. White women have convinced black women that white men are their friends and black men are the problem. Politically speaking, think about that for a second. Because it's easier to look like you're triumphing over a weak enemy than a strong one. It's easy to make the black man some straw man, boogeyman. Everybody else does it. And then you feel good when you're defeating that fake boogeyman. You look good. So what do you get out of these alliances? You don't get anything. And in fact, you lose. And then not only that, not only do you get blamed for and get bad labels from these groups, and these groups get next to you and distance from you at the same time, not only all that, but then on top of that, these groups then use your demographic to dump all of their bad behavior. What do I mean by that? Let's go down the line again. White feminist. See, they encourage stuff and dump shit off in your culture that they don't want in theirs. White women and white feminists talk all this sexual liberation shit. They talk all this, oh, you guys are slut shaming. But where do they keep all that behavior at? They keep that with black women. They keep y'all twerking at George Floyd protest. They keep y'all talking about sex positivity and encouraging you. You shouldn't be ashamed that you're a prostitute. You don't let them slut shame you. They don't slut promote in the white community. You notice that? They promote marriage and shit in their community. They're trying to outlaw abortions and shit in their community, but trying to promote it in yours. They really try to use some black woman congressman to make a special amendment to allow black folks to continue to get abortions, but ban them for white women. Straight up telling you, we want y'all to keep killing yourselves. Keep doing what you're doing. They put that shit on y'all. They promote, like, look at the gays. When you look at a white gay person, just look at the media. You wouldn't even know a white person who's gay is gay until they tell you. There's no kind of actions or behaviors anymore in the media that indicate that a white person is gay. Not clothes, not the way they talk or walk or anything. To the point to where when you see a quote unquote stereotypical gay white guy, they call that white guy camp. As if he is putting something on. It's a type of gay white person, right? He's an over the top gay. But most gay white people that they show you in the media, they be wearing like regular little flannel jackets and shit and shopping at Abercrombie and Fitch. They be going rowing and hiking and shit. They did that by design to show you through campaigns that these are regular people. You know who's not showed like regular people in white media? Black gays. Black gays, it's raining, man. Welcome to Men on Film. You guys are the most flaming sissies whenever they show black gays. Again, I live in Seattle. Seattle is Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill is like the Blue Oyster Bar in Police Academy. It's the gayest gay city you'll ever know. It's the gayest little gay zone. Capitol Hill is so gay. When you cross the street, they got rainbow crosswalks, my nigga. I'm not making any of that shit up. As soon as you walk in Capitol Hill, nigga, it's bandanas and booty shorts. Where are you from? Like them gay niggas will bang on you. It's like Atlanta. But when you go in Capitol Hill, the gay whites that are in Capitol Hill are regular folks. When you go into Atlanta and you see the gays that are in Atlanta, them niggas are sideshows. Those are like damn near like drag queen. Those are like TV gays. Like spin in a circle and go, ooh, ooh, ooh. Get like almost like a caricature of a gay in a movie. Because that's the way you're portrayed. You're portrayed as all the trash of that community. Because there's trash in every community. All the illicit drug use, the sex trafficking, the sex workering, that's the shit that the black gays got to represent. Now, mind you, the white gays do the exact same shit. I'm not saying that the black gays have some sort of a lower moral behavior. I'm saying that with black gays, that's what gets represented about you. All the trash gets dumped off on the black people. There is no black gay Hollywood like white Hollywood. You're not getting a cut. All these gay groups. See, one thing white folks know how to do on the left is form organizations and nonprofits and places to collect money from. All them Me Too's and Time's Ups and all that shit. There's a lot of gay advocacy groups that all that shit goes to white gays. even the black gay groups that collect money, like Black Lives Matter. If you look at where a lot of that money went from Black Lives Matter, that shit went to gay groups that you can't say those are black gay groups. Those are just gay groups. So there's a lot of gay white folks that made a lot of money and benefited from straight black male deaths through Black Lives Matter. What do you get for your alliance with these people? They dump off their trash, their bad culture, their bad behavior onto you. People didn't like when Michael Sam, nobody remembers Michael Sam for the then St. Louis Rams. First openly gay black football player drafted into the NFL. It's a black man. And when they asked him, because they kept trying to force the narrative that, oh, black people aren't going to accept that you're gay. And he told them straight up, actually, I've had more problems with the gay communities being racist towards me being black. Oh, cut his mic. Never heard from that nigga again. Now, when it comes to immigrants, using the some immigrants are black, right? So it's a black issue, right? We've made this joke time and time again. If you're an African or if you're a Caribbean and you come to America and you become a doctor, all of a sudden that Nigerian flag flies out your ass. All of a sudden you are Niger. All of a sudden Nigerians, Africans are the best, hardest working, most educated people in America. Oh, okay, cool. But if that same Niger turns around and starts selling methamphetamines or robs somebody or rapes somebody or kills somebody, suddenly it's black on black crime. Oh, this nigger committed this crime. Look how these black folks commit. No one puts a special Niger crime watch aside. No one does that. You can have niggas that was on flights back to Nigeria fresh off of committing a crime. They'll fly your ass back to the United States, know that you're a Nigerian, and be like, let's add this total to the black crime list. So yeah, and African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, you guys full and well know this. You know how I know y'all full and well know this? Y'all full and well know that there are millions of Africans living in America right now. Millions of Nigerians living in America right now. Millions of Somalians, Ethiopians, Eritreans living in America right now. Do you honestly believe that of all these millions of Africans, all these millions of Caribbeans, that none of them commit crime? You would have to think that at least maybe one or two has committed a crime, right? Okay, so if you believe even one or two Africans out of millions living in America have committed a crime, where would you go? What statistic would you use to pull that crime rate out? Like if you called the FBI or a police precinct or crime statistics and said, hey, I need to find out how many Jamaicans are committing crimes in America. And they go, okay, well, look up how many black. No, not black. That's too all encompassing. I need specifically Nigerian. I need specifically Jamaican. I need specifically Somalian. How would they even give you that information? They wouldn't. Because when you get arrested in America, and this is why I don't like that when the police pull me over bullshit, right? They don't ask if I am African. There's no category to ask if you're African. Tiger Woods found out there was no Caucasian category when he got arrested. You're a nigger. I ain't never seen a nigga, and I know plenty of African gangbangers. I ain't never seen a nigga get arrested and on his shit it says race, African, race, Nigerian. That nigga just black. There's not even a way statistically to break down the information like that on an exact and accurate level. They're going to go off of kind of where you live. Well, he's black, but he lives in Minnesota, in this area that's predominantly Somalian. So maybe these crimes are but they're not asking you when you go in, Are you a Somali? Are you an Eritrean? Are you an African American or an African? So any crimes you commit just goes to black people in America. And then you turn around full and well knowing that and say, you black Americans commit crimes here and we Africans don't. Nigga, get out of here. So you full and well know how this hustle works, how you get to, as Yvette Carnell would say, eat the fish and spit out the bones. You get to come in here and gobble up all the few benefits that we created for being black American. You get to suck up that oxygen. And I'm not just talking about Africans. I'm not even just talking about immigrants. I named the groups: immigrants, gays, and white women. Limousine liberals would be a fourth category. But to be honest with you, there's a little bit of all of those in the limousine liberal category. Liberals are encompassed by white women, immigrants, and gays. And all three of those groups benefit by attaching themselves to black identity where it benefits them, dumping off the shitty parts of their culture onto us, and then using us as a boogeyman to make their arguments more palatable to greater America. We're not like these niggas, but we're just like these niggas. Doesn't make any damn sense. It's just like Paul Mooney said, everybody wants to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. Let's keep it real. Now, I just went through all of that, and not a one of you can tell me, what do you get from these alliances? But you're always told, oh, we can't do it alone now. We got, all right, now we got to have some alliances to go in there now. And now, under normal circumstances, yes, it's easier to do things with an alliance of people than by yourself. But that's if and only if your alliance, see, we don't really be looking at these root words. What's the root word of alliance? Aligned. We're on code with each other. We're on the same wavelength. We want the same things. We're in lockstep. So how are you going to call me an ally? How are you going to call this arrangement we got an alliance when the second I say what I want out of the alliance, you're like, whoa, we can't go there on that now. All right. We can only go there. Our alliance is purely built on things that work for us. We can't have your black ass going in there and asking for things that work for you, because then we don't get anything. That's not an alliance. That's using us. I'll tell you another way it's not an alliance. If you all of a sudden drop out of the alliance and the whole thing falls apart, but if they dropped out of the alliance, you would keep going and you would be fine. You don't need that alliance. What are they bringing you to the table to where you're like, whew, I'm sure glad we got gays on our side? Like, what do they bring to the table? And not only what do they bring to the table, when have they not undermined us for the smallest, most basic, sometimes even just symbolic thing we got? Gays came in and was mad that niggas got a Black Lives Matter sign in DC and took that shit and turned it into a rainbow. Niggas don't want you to have nothing. You're supposed to just be the mascot and the Trojan horse for the Democratic Party. And what's worst of all from all of that is not only do you not get anything from this, not only do they use you and then distance you and steal your justice claim, not only do they mute your voices and eliminate what your desires are politically, but guess what else it does? That's the worst part of all. There's such a thing called social capital, political capital, where people can understand what you're making an argument for and are willing to work with you and make sure you get something to make things more fair. Most white people, I won't say most, because I haven't taken a personal poll, but I will say that I have seen on a great number of occasions white folks who that you would consider right wing or right wing extreme clarify that they don't even have a problem with the idea of civil rights for black people because of what happened in the country. Where they get confused, like me, is how civil rights for black people turns into special rights for gays, turns into special rights for white women. turns into special rights for immigrants that wasn't even here. Laws are important, but the next most important thing behind a law is how a law is interpreted. And that's where lawyers come in. It's a lawyer's job, once a law has been put down, to question, redirect, clarify, and confirm what every word in that law really means, and to figure out the limitations, the edges of that law, to know what is lawful and illegal. That's just straight up. That's what any lawyer is going to do. If you make a law saying no killing, you can't murder anybody, the first thing a lawyer is going to do is say, hey, define murder, so that they can find out what exactly is the definition of murder, so that you can be on the right side of the law, even if you want to commit that crime. That's what lawyers do. You don't get anything out of these air quote alliances. They aren't alliances. You are being used. If you pulled out of this alliance, white women would get nothing. If you pulled out of this alliance, white women would be forced to have their kids. No more abortions. White women overplayed their hand with the Me Too movement. That's why less of them are getting hired in offices, because these white men who still control everything, they don't want to lose what they got because they said, good morning, I like that shirt, and now they're getting a trip to HR. You pull out of this alliance, white women are finito. You pull out of this alliance, immigrants are getting shipped back to their countries quicker than you could say Aladdin. White folks are tired of losing their jobs to immigrants. Not nigga, got nothing to do with niggas. White folks are tired of that shit. Go look at regular blue collar white people in middle America. Remember, whiteness in America is built solely on not having competition. That's how they got where they are. They built a world where they removed anybody that could compete with them, and they really be thinking that they're hitting triples out here. So when you start bringing in people that are actually hitting triples and running to third base, no, get them out of here. White people are tired of the immigrants here. You pull out of that alliance, the immigrants are done. You pull out of that alliance, the gays are done. You think people are really tolerant of all this gay shit? They're not. People don't hate gays. They just rather not. Like, think about it. White folks literally made up a rule called don't ask, don't tell. Nigga, I don't want to hear all that shit. That's literally what it's in the title. I don't want to hear about it, and I don't want you telling me about it. We're over here in a foxhole fighting the Taliban, and you telling me about some gay shit. I don't care if you're straight. I don't want to hear you talking about how you want to get home to your wife and kids. Nigga, just shoot that gun. We're soldiers. I didn't ask you. Why are you telling me? We just got used to being in the troops with black people. I don't want to hear that you're gay. I don't care. The rule didn't even say no gays. It said, nigga, don't ask, don't tell. That's a rule white folks made up. That's been in the army for years. That just got erased a couple of years ago by a black dude. But black people solely are homophobic. And why? Because black people don't endorse being gay. You notice every time a black celebrity gets in trouble for not being gay enough, the first thing that happens is that the gay community puts a mic or something in their face and tries to get them to endorse being gay. Not just, hey, I apologize for the words I said. They might have been a little insensitive towards a group of people, and I'm not trying to be hateful. No, they be like, so you're not going to try to go to the LGBTQ meetings and do, nigga, you're not Israel. We don't got to have re-education camps to talk about the Holocaust you niggas went through. Like, you're not Israel. We're not going to sit here. You're not the Anti-Defamation League. You're the gays. We all drew minority lots. Like, we get a month. You niggas get to have a parade. Like you don't get to come over here like checking people about some gay shit. I remember when they got mad at Kevin Hart. And the gays never accepted apology. They got mad at Kevin Hart for some shit that they rehashed and brought back up. It was already out there to a smaller audience of people. He already apologized for it years ago. And they turned it into something super serious right before you know how the gays love the Oscars and the Tonys and the Emmys and all that shit. And they blocked him from being able to host that show. Never mind all the shit that all them white comedians that have hosted that show said. They blocked Kevin Hart. They didn't want to see that black man come up like that and be hosting their show. And they hid it behind, oh, he's homophobic, right? And they got extra mad when he said, look, I already apologized for that shit. You're not going to get me to go on no apology tours and shit. What was Don Lemon saying to Kevin Hart on CNN after Kevin Hart broke down and apologized? So you're not going to go and look in the camera and go to the next GLAAD meeting? No, I'm not going to endorse your gay shit. I'm not gay. Quit trying to use my celebrity influence to try to convince kids to just, hey, have you tried being gay? Knock it off. All these different groups love to use blackness to try to endorse their bullshit. They see blackness, they see hip hop, they see sports, they see black cool, and they know that nobody really cares about their, but again, if you want any more proof how artificial the whole gay movement is, look at how nervous they get whenever somebody says something about them. And like I said, you think people really have quote unquote evolved on this topic? Look at how quickly people was ready to ride with Dave Chappelle when he said what he said, because people been waiting for someone to say that shit. These is white folks that was like, yeah, I'm tired of all this forced tolerance. You force somebody to be tolerant, that shit don't work out. Nobody knows that more than black people. We've been trying to, we shall overcome with these white folks for years. And the second that they get a little bit of breathing room, nigger comes out their mouth. They can't help it. It's who they are. But you trying to force people to see, oh, call me a girl, nigger. You're trying to force people to see you as a chick. And that shit ain't going to work. It's going to be a backlash. And it's already starting to happen. Like, people really don't understand how hard things are about to reverse in a minute with this red wave. And if you don't believe me, call me a liar. In 2008, you would have thought by the media that the world had achieved world peace when Barack Obama got elected. Niggas singing, don't stop believing in the streets and shit. Countries that didn't like us saying we ain't gonna beef with y'all right now. You would have thought everything. They were literally calling that age of America post-racial. Like, we had come to a level of nirvana and enlightenment to where we are a people beyond race. We are wise and omnipotent. We have evolved beyond your petty squabbles as humans, right? We were post-racial. We were all going to be wearing silver suits and shit. Like we were in the future. It was going to be the dawning of the age of Aquarius, right? 8 years later, what did you get as soon as Donald Trump got in? You had fucking Nazis running up and down the street. Jews will not replace us. Race riots, all that shit. Just in 8 years. Now, do we think that that's because Donald Trump has some sort of magical, metaphysical, demonic powers to have control over people? Or do you think what really happened, which was people that always felt that way, just kept quiet for the moment because the wave was going in the other direction? I'm going to put my money on the latter, right? All these little groups that benefit from the quote unquote alliance with black people, if we pulled out, they're fucked. If they drop from us, we're in the same boat we were in when we had an alliance with them, which is we get nothing. So a simple strategy, since I've been babbling on all this time about warfare and tactics, a simple strategy is to distance ourselves from them. And I want to be key about this because a lot of black people seem to get this confused and think you only have two options. The solution is not to run from one pimp's stable into another. We're not switching to the Republican Party. Even if you decide to vote Republican, which is completely fine, you're not switching your, huge air quotes coming, loyalties
to anybody. Your job as a black voter is not to be loyal. Think like a hoe. Be loyal only to your own best interest. Vote for your own best interest as a black person. Know who you are first. You're a black person. So you're going to vote. Like, I think about everything in politics from the aspect of a black person. Look at your alliances as a black person. Let's go down the line again. There ain't but 3 of them. White women. We're fighting for feminist rights and Okay, think like a black person. As a black woman, you're a double minority. You're making X amount of money when compared to a white man. Okay, how much money is that black woman making when compared to that white woman? What? No. We're not talking women, and we're talking black people. This is something a lot of black feminists don't ever think about. If you woke up tomorrow and your race was the same, but your gender was different, do you really think that's a come up? You woke up tomorrow and you're a black man. Now you're a part of the alleged patriarchy. Did you come up, or are you worried now? Or is it a wash? It's about a wash. You've traded one aspect of problems with black life for another. You went to sleep as a black woman worried about doctors trying to kill you in the medical rooms, and you woke up as a black man running from the police. You traded in one problem for another. You didn't come up, sis. Not every black man lives in the bliss of being an NBA prospect or got a hot album out. That's the top 5% of black men, and even that really isn't that much to be hopeful for in the grand scheme of things, right? That you got a nice job. And like I said, only the top 5% of black men in America live that life. So when I say you woke up as a black man, you woke up as the average black man with the average black man's income, the average black man's problems. Did you really come up, sis? So is your problem really the patriarchy? You can't say that the problem is black men and the patriarchy, and then we start asking what are black men doing that's making you so mad, and really it's your frustrations that black men aren't part of the patriarchy that's the problem. You start asking black women what are their real problems with black men, and the first thing that's going to roll off their mouth is that we ain't got no money. We can't be, broke, dusty, insignificant, ain't shit niggas in one breath and then be the most powerful, most diabolical, overpowering unit since the goddamn stormtroopers in the Galactic Empire in the next breath, according to whatever fits your narrative. You can't have both, sis. Your problems aren't the patriarchy. Your overall arching problems aren't the patriarchy. And you know that. You know it's that niggas ain't got no money, niggas ain't got no power. Because that's the first thing you'll throw in a nigga's face when you're arguing with him on Twitter. Let's keep it real. If you woke up tomorrow as a black man, your problems wouldn't go away. The same way if you went to sleep as a gay person and woke up as a straight black person, your problems wouldn't go away. Look at the problems black gays have as compared to gay whites. Black gays be broke scavengers. A lot of black gays be scammers because they got to get it out the mud just like regular black. Like, they are regular black people. They got to get it out the mud just like niggas. Ain't nobody cutting you out of the family business like a white family when you're gay. Nigga, we're poor. We was going to kick you out anyway if you wasn't going to be a basketball player, even if you was straight. But now that you're gay, we can use that as an excuse. Get out of here, nigga. You know we ain't got enough money. Go and get out of here. That'd be the real reason why black folks kick their sons out the family so early. Because you can't become an earner yet. Nigga, the phone bill's been in your name since we were 7. You know we're desperate out here. You can't play ball? You can't rap? You can't get it for the low? Well, you can get out of my house, young man. That'd be the real reason niggas get kicked out at 14 and 15. It'd be the same for the gays. I've never seen a poor gay white person. I've never seen a young, poor, gay white person, but I see plenty of young, poor, gay black people all the time. Look at your immigrants. Remove the black people and all that black-brown coalition and remove the black people from the immigrant argument. I come here for better life. Yeah, we're closed right now. Don't ever hear that shit. It's black folks churching it up and side by side with these people and co-signing these people. Why do you think that them Hispanics are calling their little act the Dreamers? That's about MLK. Ain't no damn Dreamers. That's us. Distance yourself and remove yourself from this alliance. Watch the whole regime fall. The black vote has all of the power. All of it. We need only to recognize it. That's it. So after you pull back your alliances, the second move to do, and this is war strategy, the second most important thing is communication. Well, really, it's the first thing. Now that you've pulled back your alliances, your quote unquote allies, which I would refer more to as like parasites, but I'm trying not to be mean, right? But once you've pulled back all those alliances, your allies are going to have no way of communicating with you. This is why it's so important to cut off all those fake black activists and all these fake congressional black caucus members and people that speak for you and speak to you. All those got to be removed. You cut off your alliances and you let these people know through their groups. Because how you're talking to these people is through their groups. That's another problem that black people have. We think that we can solve issues by addressing individual black people or just addressing the black community as a whole. All those, we got to do better and we got to stop black on black violence. All those generic, bland comments that aren't being said to a specific person that would have pull over that falls on deaf ears. How you communicate and move is through organizations, institutions, and groups that have sway and influence over the people. White groups, they have these groups. There's all kinds of GLADs and LGBTQ organizations and immigrant organizations and women's groups for white women that if you talk to them, they are able to disseminate their message through the greater demographics of their society. You send a message to these white women's groups, black women ain't doing XYZ until y'all change your tune on ABC. That message will get loud and clear through the white women at large in America. Straight up. And same with all the other groups. So you cut off your alliances and you let them know, hey, look, check this out. We're not aligning with you guys on any issues that are important to you for this Democratic Party until we get X, Y, and motherfucking Z. That's it. We don't got to do no back and forth. We don't got to do no debates. We don't got to spend no money on no campaigning. All we got to do, the only action that black folks have to do is inaction. Just don't move. We're not budging. And the best way to prove it, I keep repeating this, is this midterm election because we're not going to vote anyway. We're not going to move. The inaction will be seen as the we're serious tip. Oh, these niggas really didn't vote. Okay, what did you guys say you wanted again? Yeah, we're not doing any of this black sister girl, double minority shit. See, here's something that always bothered me with black women and the whole double minority argument, right? Just look at this logical loop right here. By your logic, black women are a double minority because they're women and they're black. And because of you being a woman and being black, me being a black male, I couldn't possibly compare or identify, right? And in reality, I'm the enemy because I can't identify, right? Because if you're a double minority for being a woman and being black, meaning being a woman, being a white woman is just as hard as being a black person of any gender. If that logic is true, then you being a double minority means that I'm not a minority because I'm a black male. Sure, I'm black, that makes me a minority, but I have the ease of being a male, which nullifies my blackness. So I'm just kind of non-existent, right? So because of that, I can't be your ally. I'm the enemy because I'm the patriarchy, because my maleness removes my blackness. But by that same logic, you shouldn't be allied with white women because white women's whiteness should nullify their womanhood. But you're still allied with that white woman, which proves that your whole argument is complete bullshit. Anybody who has to say it's like what the blacks are doing is in nowhere near like what the blacks have done. Ain't nobody, gays were really walking around talking about they're the new black. Think about that for a second. You know somebody is trying to circumvent and take over what you're doing when they identify themselves as the new you, like you're not there. Nobody ever asked, when people say, oh, this is the new black, did anybody ever ask, what happened to the black? At what point what happens to the old black if something's declared the new black? We don't look at, it's kind of weird that a people who invented hip hop, which is totally around word flipping and word play and innuendos and double entendres, doesn't see the insult in that term. Doesn't see, every last one of these groups has a phrase or a battle cry that low key insults black people right to our face. Right to our face. I've seen white women go, it's time that you fight for us now. Bitch, what? Immigrants built America. Nigga, what? Gay is the new black. Nigga, what? These are direct attacks on black folks, and you'll have black groups up there side by sideing the shit. We don't see this shit as warfare. We don't see this shit as resources being taken. Until you look around and it's all essays at jobs that used to be for black folks. You look around and you got Hispanics firebombing your neighborhoods. And when your black gangs retaliate against the Hispanic gangs, when the Hispanic gangs attack you, the police don't do shit. But when the black gangs retaliate, now they're extraditing you out of California for gang activity. But you was fighting the whole Mexican mafia, right? Well, we can't say anything to them because that would be racist because, there are rules on the books for that. Those rules are for me. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. You get nothing out of these alliances, and that's bad warfare strategy. You're letting people come in and take your resources. Bad warfare strategy. You're taking your own soldiers off the board. Cutting off your black men from your bad warfare strategy. Worst of all, you've let your opposition come in and put your generals in place to speak for you and move for you. Bad warfare strategy. You cut off these alliances, and how you can do that, you personally, I like to give everybody listening a personal call to action. Calling up your local congressman is a waste of time. Because if you're black, your local congressman is a part of a black glass ceiling that I'll get into in a little bit. Calling your local congressman is a waste of time. Unless your congressman is white. Don't call the Congressional Black Caucus. Them coons ain't in charge of shit. What you want to do is you want to call the DNC directly. I'm going to leave the number to the DNC directly. You want to call Perez directly and let him know that as a black voter, I'm out. And there's millions of people that are going to be calling you, telling you the same. I'm out. Unless we get this, and this, I'm out. And then just don't vote in the midterms. That's going to scare the shit out of them. They're going to know See, white women, immigrants, white gays, they all know that they're getting over with black people. They know it's a hustle. They know there's absolutely nothing tangible in it for black people. And to be honest with you, we lose every time they win. They know that. And the only thing that keeps this going is simply us just not realizing it. This is terrifying to them. And the best part about it is that after this midterm, we're going to have a full 2 years of nothing else that we have to do to prove that we're serious. There's no votes between midterm and the national election that they can use as some sort of an indicator as to where the black vote's going to go or if we can really hold out. There's nothing that we have to do to maintain at that point to where somebody could break rank or falter or fall short. It's simply don't do anything and talk shit for 2 years. Keep your arms folded, Black America. Keep your head turned and keep saying, and ignore them for 2 years. And I want you to see how quickly them offers start coming on the table because they're bluffing. They know they can't do shit without the black vote. And not only can't do shit without the black vote, and this is key, you don't even need to get a majority of the black vote. Remember, Hillary Clinton lost because the black vote went down by about 6 to 8%. That's how close the races be. So if you knock the black vote off by 4 to 6%, you could cost them an election. Not only that, this is something else that I don't think a lot of black people think about how much power you have. You've been such a faithful, reliable, shoe-in entity for the Democratic Party for so long that did you know that black congressmen and black congresswomen don't really have to campaign? Do you know how much money that saves the DNC? That they got a chunk of about 50 votes every year that get reelected every election cycle without having to campaign or spend any campaign money or focus on those elections at all? Because they're in black districts and black folks are loyal Democratic voters that are just going to vote for anybody that got a D by their name. Can you imagine how much of a disaster it would be during the national election? Because this is what a party is going to think after a dismal midterm performance. See, both parties are used to losing favor with their white voters and having to do things to go get those voters back. And, okay, we got to make this more palatable. We got to change the wording of this. We got to give them something. With black folks, no, I come out, I eat some soul food. I might make a hip hop reference. You'll catch me in a picture with a rapper. I'll tell you how somebody I knew marched with King or some shit, and I'm good to go, right? You're going to vote for me again? And if I'm a black elected official, I really just got to come out there and wink and nod and say, you know how they do us, and we got to stick together. It's a shoo-in. You don't got to spend any money in those areas. You don't got to focus on nothing. And in many cases, you barely even have to campaign there if you're running for president because it's a blue state ran by black folks. I know my niggas got me. You heard the incoming president last year say, you've always had my back. People forget because the media does a good job of erasing black contributions to the vote the second the election's over. People forget. Joe Biden was in like 3rd or 4th place in the primaries until black folks dusted his funky ass off. And the only reason we did it, he didn't do not one thing to inspire the black vote neither. The only reason we did it is because black folks are overtly loyal. If we love you, nigga, we love you. We voted for Joe Biden. Let's keep it real. Older black folks, if you cornered them, if you ask older black folks, why did you vote for Joe Biden? A nigga gonna tell you because he played his role under Barack Obama. Black folks enjoyed seeing that goofy white man do whatever that black man said. That shit felt good. That's why we voted for him. Joe Biden was a bumbling, stumbling idiot, and he was kind of a known racist. Let's keep it real. That's why Obama put him in office. Like, hey, white folks, don't trip and thinking it's going to get too black. I'm going to bring in the most racist fucker you could ever think of. That's a bumbling, stumbling idiot. So at least you'll feel like, well, there's still white power in office. If anything ever happens to Obama, we'll get a white guy in office, no problem. That was the purpose of Joe Biden, was to kind of be Barack's handcuffs. Don't get too black, nigger. And he played his role well. And it was a win-win. White folks got to have a white handler to make sure Barack Obama didn't black it up too much. And black folks got to enjoy the visuals of Barack Obama kind of talking down to Joe Biden every now and then, and Joe Biden just taking the L. It was funny to watch. It was like watching the Hughleys. Black folks enjoyed that so much. We took that like he had Barack's back, like he had like it made us feel good. So we said, hey man, just go vote for that nigga Joe Biden again. I don't know any of these other white folks, but when I look at Joe Biden, it takes me back to simpler times of seeing that dumbass white man get shit explained to him by the clearly more intelligent, smoother Barack Obama. Boy, I know niggas miss them days, right? And I'm not saying Barack Obama was a good president for black people. We're speaking completely and purely on the visuals. That shit looked good when Joe Biden's saying something dumb over a hot mic and Barack Obama's looking over at him like, shut up, fool. What are you doing? It makes your guy look smarter. Nothing makes Dean Martin look smoother than Jerry Lewis. So we voted for Biden purely for that. We didn't even ask him a policy, the same way we never asked Barack Obama a policy. Not what policy are you running on that we may or may not support. We didn't ask Joe Biden a single damn. We were like, look, bro, we remember you kissing Barack Obama's ass. We like that, right? It was like watching a white man shine a black man's shoes, right? It was nice. For like 8 years, we got to watch a white man shine a black man's shoes. That shit was fun. You don't front, even if you don't like Barack Obama. You know you got that Ebony magazine and that news article where Barack Obama's sitting at the desk and there's them 8 white men surrounding him looking like bowling pins. You know, if you're black, if you don't have that picture, you've at least seen that picture. You know what I'm talking about. And you did a little chuckle and smile the first time you seen it. Don't lie, nigga. Don't lie. I did too. We all did the shit. Let's keep it real. Somewhere in the back of your closet, there's a bedazzled Barack Obama shirt that says hope on it. Nigga, we all fell for that shit. I'm not even gonna lie. That's why we voted for Joe Biden. Not for a single policy. Let's just keep it real. Black people's only demands when Joe Biden was running was you better put a blackish person somewhere high up on your cabinet that we can visually see when you get in office. That's all we asked. And they said, all right, nigga, we'll give y'all Caramel Harris. And we were like, fine. That's literally it, because we wanted to just go back to like Barack Obama times where shit just looked better. You don't get a more loyal voting base that don't ask for shit. You don't get better than that. That's why the Republicans don't like black folks. They know that they would run circles around the Democrats if it wasn't for these meddlesome niggers. We save the day every episode of the cartoon like a Saturday morning cartoon. They know they're getting over with us. And what people do when they know they're hustling you, when they know they're scamming you, and you found it out, they're going to play the role for a minute, but eventually they're going to be like, all right, you got me. So what do you want? Because they don't want them terms to end. You somehow finagled the car dealership to where you got yourself a Rolls-Royce Phantom for $5 a month. There was a typo in the computer system. I don't know, whatever. But you've gotten used to driving that Rolls-Royce Phantom. Niggas know you as that nigga in the town with the Phantom. You top dollar, right? Then one day the car dealership hits you with, hey man, we We've corrected this mistake. You were supposed to pay $5,000 a month for that car. Now, we can hit you with all kinds of back pay and come repo that car in front of your house, in front of everybody, and put you on blast. Or you can agree to start paying $500 a month. Most people would take that deal. It's a fair deal. You know you wasn't supposed to be paying $5 a month for no Rolls Royce Phantom, nigga. And you know you can't afford no 5 racks, and you know you don't want to lose this car. You want to pay this $500, which is more than generous. You want to pay this $500? Most people will take that deal. We've been giving these niggas a Rolls Royce Phantom for $5 a month since we've been able to vote. It's tax season. It's time to tax that ass. We got to quit trying to demand shit from the government generically when you already got the ear of the government. The government is just ran by one political party or another, or a combination of the two. You already got the ear of one whole political party. It's time to start making the Democratic Party our bitch instead of being the Democratic Party's bitch. It's time to flip this shit around. And all we have to do is pull out for a second and cut off ties with all these alliances. You cut off ties with these alliances to where we're not rocking with them on these weird ass social issues. Watch how fast these social issues start falling by the wayside. And watch how fast these special interest groups, because that's what immigration, women's rights, and gay rights are, the special interest groups. Watch how fast these special interest groups start kissing your ass to get you back on the team. Signing out.